So let me share my screen. Let me share my screen so everybody can see. Okay, so can you see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. So let's go to my face. Okay, so I will be really honest with you guys. Um, I don't really like the theoretical things. What I like is to I think that the best way to learn cybersecurity and specifically ethical hacking is to the hands-on experience. I think that's the most important thing. Um, if you really want to learn about ethical hacking, I know that there's a theoretical part that obviously we have to go through, and we have to go to understand what is behind the scene. But the best way, as I said, is the hands-on labs, hands-on experience, projects, etc., etc. Okay, so uh, I'm not gonna increase the size of the screen because what I will do is eventually I will open my Kali Linux. So in order to don't make any or to don't delay the session or to waste time reducing the size of the PowerPoint, etc. I will keep it like that. So that will give me like so that will be faster for me to open some tools in my computer so you can see faster. Okay. Okay, so let's start with this workshop. Thank you all of you to join today. I'm really excited. This is not the first time that I do this. Um, so yeah, a few things before we get started. Feel free to submit your questions in the question and answer box. Okay. I will try to answer all of your questions during the session when I'm explaining the topics. Um, I won't check the chat because I will be focused on the explanation. After I finish, I will check the chat and I will respond. I will try to respond all your questions there. So just drop it there and at the end, I will try to respond all of them. Okay, so inside the world of ethical hacking, right? What is ethical hacking? Ethical hacking is the operations that ethical hacker or penetration testers does against a network, a website, an API, an application, an asset. Specifically, is an asset could be a server, a computer. Everything nowadays is interconnected. You can also have an IP in your refrigerator. You can have smart coffee makers. It's not just a computer. In the past, we thought that the only device were that you can use to connect to interconnect the world was the computer. But nowadays with the smart houses, everything is interconnected. So that means that everything has an IP address. It's everything has an IP address. That means that everything could be hackable. So we can hack everything because everything is interconnected. I can hack if I would have a smart coffee maker that is connected into the network inside my house, I will be able to hack it if the coffee maker has a vulnerability, right? So that is basically the work of the ethical hacker. The ethical hacker does the job, does an operation against a network, but with previous authorization. Is previously authorized by the owner, by the organization, by the company, right? So that's what the ethical hackers does. Obviously, there are some of them that are not ethical. That what they do is they use their knowledge to provoke damages against an organization, a network, a website, etc., etc. Okay, so the objectives of today are difference between hacking and hackers, hacking process phases. I will explain you step by step what is which are the process phases, hacking knowledge domains, and hacking simulation. Sorry. A small hacking simulation that obviously, because of the time, won't be sophisticated, but it's just like a brief introduction on how the ethical hacker uh, how they perform during a real operation. I promise that tomorrow, before we finish the second session, tomorrow I will show you a SQL injection attack against a database in real life. So I promise that I will do that, but not today, but tomorrow. Okay. So hacking, as you can see there, that's the image of the I mean how we think that the hackers are, but nowadays we know that anyone can be an ethical hacker. That requires a lot of dedication, a lot of investment, but not investment actually in money, investment in time, right? You have to invest time studying with this type of workshops, um, like trying to find information about different type of hackings, uh, joining some platforms. I don't know if you have heard before about Try Hack Me, Hack the Box. Those are famous platforms around the world that offer some vulnerable rooms where you can exploit some vulnerabilities in real life and you can practice in a safe environment. Because as you may know, hacking without authorization is illegal. Never do that without previous authorization because you can provoke a huge damage in the organization or against a particular person. Okay, so what is behind hacking? So, what a malicious hacker could generate or could provoke into an organization. So, definitely financial loss, because, as you know, a hacker can get inside into, for example, a website, bank, get the database, retrieve information from the database, and try to establish connection to that particular account, right? To that particular account that the hacker got. After that, probably the client will see his statement, and and that will mean that we lost a lot of money. Another thing that could happen is a data leakage. The data leakage is talking about that filtrating information, like filter information, valuable information about an organization, like for example, credit cards, passwords, usernames, social security numbers, information about the employees of the organization. Data manipulation, well, this is a little more complicated because the data manipulation requires a little bit of experience. Data manipulation is to change, for example, a request. When I try to establish connection, for example, let's say to Google or to Outlook or Gmail, I'm sending a request to them. So I can capture that request. I can capture that request and I can analyze it. If I analyze the request, I can modify the request to provoke a different behavior in that particular request. Loss of reputation. Loss of reputation, for example, we can say generate denial DDoS attack against a particular website. For example, let's say, how much money do you think Amazon could lost if their website, their main website, goes down for 1 hour? How many millions of dollars they could lose if the website goes down? Loss of reputation. Why? Because now, instead of going to Amazon, I will go to Alibaba, or I will go to a different website to buy something, right? Because I will think that Amazon is not reliable, it's not stable, right? And how I can generate that through DDoS attacks, denial of service attacks. One, well, what is the denial of service attack? Is when I saturate the server where is located the website. For example, as I said, Amazon, Amazon, um, they have to distribute their their web application server around the world. Probably a DDoS attack against them won't work, but for small businesses could. If I saturate the server where is located the website, that will provoke that the website eventually will goes down, will shut down completely. And if any person around the world try to get access to that server, the server will pop up a message saying that the server is down and that person won't be able to get access to the website. So that is how a malicious hacker could provoke loss of reputation. Infrastructure damage. Infrastructure damage, when we say infrastructure damage, is when we get inside an internal network and we get inside into a database, we change the information inside for example, a system that is located inside an internal network. If we change the information in a system. For example, let's imagine that there's a system, there's a software inside an internal network that has different, that has a function, a particular function in the infrastructure, right? What would happen if I change the code? What would happen if I modify the code to make the software do something else, do something different that will provoke that maybe the business will stop? That is an infrastructure damage. Web defacement, if I change, if I completely change or partially change a website. Let's, I think that probably more, some of you have seen or have read before about the web defacement. Like, for example, a malicious hacker hack a website and they publish, for example, a picture of something else, or for example, Anonymous in the past did that with some websites. They put their face, or maybe change the information in the website. They are show or they are selling. I don't know. They what I don't know. They could sell things for babies. Let's imagine, and I inject some code and I modify the website. And after that, any user that get access to that website will see something different, a picture, a particular picture, the totally different than the purpose of that baby's website. For example, something, I don't know, the face of Anonymous, or something else, or about pornography, or about illegal things, right? And data loss, as you may notice, data loss is when I delete information from databases or information about an organization that could be that could hurt a lot to an infrastructure and to a company. Okay, so let's continue. What is cybersecurity? Cybersecurity, the main goal of cybersecurity is to protect the assets, data, to protect the information that is transmitted, processed, and stored in databases. That is the briefly what is cybersecurity and what we want to do with cybersecurity. Okay. Okay, as I said, the hacker intention, the financial gain, get money from my attack. As I did the example at the beginning, if I attack a bank institution, my intention would be to grab some money, right? Grab some money from someone else, stealing stealing data, like get information, valuable information about the user. As I said, passwords, social security numbers, credit cards information, family information, information that is valuable for the user. Um, political gain. Most of them are hacktivists, so what they do is to, if they are, for example, in favor about something, they what they do is to show information about that, specifically that. So it's a political game, like to, uh, as you know, in some countries. The politics use the social media to gain voters or to provoke some misinformation in the population. So it's possible to hire a hacker to do that. Yes, it's possible. We use social engineering for that, right? We use hacktivism for that. This distraction, fun, and fame. There are some people that they do this just for fun. um, they do this um, just because of um, they want to say mission accomplished or something like that. They don't have any purpose behind the scene other learning. Sometimes when you try to learn, you can provoke some damage, right? And helping others. I mean, helping others in their goals. Sometimes their goals are not very legal, but yeah, helping others. Okay, so there are here are some classifications of hackers, like the black hacker. The black hat is the one who is the malicious hacker, the illegal one. Obviously, not. I mean, we are not part of. All of us are white hat hackers that are the ones um, who works in the legal way of things, that they normally apply their knowledge after previous authorization from the entity or the organization, right? The great hat is like a little hybrid. They had sometimes they attack an infrastructure, for example. They discover a vulnerability and then they tell the organization, hey, I discovered this vulnerability. Uh, so are you going to pay me or not? Or do you want me to release the information to the public so everybody will know about it? That could be a gray hat hacker, right? The nation, the state sponsor is when one country attack a different one, when they create different kind of malwares. Russia, North Korea, the United States, China, the great potencies in the world are under cyber attack the whole time, right? Hacktivists, as I said, the hacktivists, they normally support a goal, a reason. Um, they normally hack because of a purpose, for a reason. They are against the state or the government, or they are against about something specific hackers. The script kiddies, the kids, the normally they are not kids. What I mean is that they are people with that doesn't have any hacking knowledge, but they use the scripts of some other hackers around the world. So at the same time, they could provoke a lot of damage with that. And the insider is the people who um, are inside an organization. For example, let's imagine this situation. You are working in a company, the company fires you, you think that you didn't deserve that, and since you have a knowledge about the internal network, you could hack them. You could grab some information about the organization. You can sell it. Maybe they won't notice that, but you can do that. That's an insider, a person who actually these are very risky. I have faced, so I lived that before.
Francis,
In
Francisco, my apologies. I see a few people typing in the chat that they are unable to hear you clearly. May I request you to please be a little louder so that everybody is able to hear you?
oh,
I see a few people typing in the chat. That's why.
oh, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Um, can you hear me now? Hello.
All right. I see a lot of saying. Okay. Okay. Let's continue. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. So as I was saying, the insiders is people that are inside an organization and maybe they uh, they want to provoke some hurt, some damage to the organization because of something, because of some situation that they think that they didn't deserve it. Like for example, being fired right after someone is fired, um, that could lead into internal hacking or release some information about the organization. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Okay, the white hat hack hackers, all of us that are the penetration testers. That's my field. I'm a red team, blue team, purple team, vulnerability assessments. Well, the red team are the ones who works in the offensive side of the ethical hacking. They work, their main job is to try to find vulnerabilities in the systems. The blue team are in charge to protect the system. They are in charge of the security. The purple team is like a hybrid. It's like a hybrid of both. And a vulnerability assessment is just to check for the vulnerabilities in the system. There's a huge difference between the penetration testing and the vulnerability assessment that there are some people that don't know. The huge difference between a penetration testing and a vulnerability assessment is that the vulnerability assessment is just a task where you have to get all the vulnerabilities in the system, but you don't try to exploit them. Try to exploit them. For example, let's imagine this situation. I normally use this example. Um, Let's imagine that there's a person, a thief, a person who tries to get inside your house. Okay? Let's imagine a person who tries to get inside your house. If I if I would be that person and I see that there are four windows that are open in your house, I would consider that as four vulnerabilities, four holes, four gaps, right? If I don't do anything, that would be a vulnerability assessment. I will see the house and I will see that there are four windows that are open. If I don't do nothing, if I just stay outside the house and I will report to the owner, that that will mean that that is a vulnerability assessment because assessing I'm assessing the house. If instead of that, if I see four windows open and I try to get in and I get inside the house and I do malicious things inside the house, that is a penetration testing. Is the vulnerability assessment plus the exploitation part. Okay, is that was clear? Perfect. That's normally the example that I use when to explain to make the explanation straightforward. Okay, so the hacking process phase, the first step, recognition. What is the recognition? The recognition is the step or the phase where we have to get as much information as possible from the organization, like, for example, names of the employees, emails, IP addresses, domains, subdomains, etc., etc. After after I get all that information, after I get the IP addresses, after I get the domains, the subdomains, names of the employees, um, email server, emails from employees, name of the employees, all the information is valuable when we're going to start the penetration testing against an organization. After that, the scanning part. The scanning part is very important. The scanning part is where when we're gonna scan to see if there's any port open or if there's any vulnerability in their system after we collect all the information. There are some tools that I will show you probably in this session that I will show you how to scan a system. There's a famous tool that is called Nmap that is a very sophisticated and powerful tool that show you the ports that are open in a particular domain or a particular IP address, right? So technically what Nmap does is to check for the 65,535 ports if any of them are open, and also to check the services and to check the versions of those services that are running in those ports. So after that, after the after we check what is open, what is closed, which service is running, which version have each service, we proceed with a little research about the findings, right? If we find that there's any vulnerability in those ports, in those servers, we try to gain access to the system, right? We get access, we get inside. For example, let's imagine we found that there was a service that there was a vulnerability in a particular port, in a particular server, in a Windows server, let's imagine. And I exploit a vulnerability. I exploit the vulnerability and I get inside the server. After that I get inside the server is game over. I can do whatever I want. I can delete, I can add, I can modify information. However, after that, I will require to maintain access. I will create, for example, I will create a new user with my credentials. So the next time that I will try to get access, I will use my credentials. I will use the credentials that I have created. So in that phase, number 4, I will try to maintain my access inside that particular server, creating a user that I will own. Okay, then clearing tracks after the hacking operation or the penetration testing operation. What I will do will be clearing everything that I did. So I will be totally clean. Nothing happened here. So I will delete every log, every information that I did in the network or the server particularly. And finally, the client normally require a report about their vulnerabilities, about the approach, um, about the information of the network, what the ethical hacker has found in their infrastructure or network or website, etc., etc. So in the report, the ethical hacker, what the ethical hacker does is to write, right, a short or a long report about the vulnerabilities of the organization and what I did. Obviously, it's a long report. I think that the the longest report I did in my life was like 100 pages. I think was against a hospital. Was one of the biggest penetration testings that I did. Actually, was last year. Was The services was for a hospital and took me 2 months to finish it, and the report was really long, very long, I remember. Okay, so hacking process phases, there are two ways: active reconnaissance, passive reconnaissance. The active reconnaissance is when we generate noise in the network, right? When we generate some noise, as you know, when you generate some noise or when you generate some traffic in the network could have security measures or maybe a perimeter security that could block your IP. So you have to be really careful with the active reconnaissance. You have to be you really you really you really have to know how to use those tools if you are using active reconnaissance, right? But normally we usually start with the passive ones, the passive reconnaissance, that is the information that is for free, that actually is public on internet. There's some information that is public on internet and it's for free. So there are some websites that I will show you, and actually I will show you right now. There's some, for example, let me open my browser. Okay, so okay, so open Google. Let's go to DNS dumpster. So this is a website where you can get information about the domains, right? For example, let's say my company, the domain. We start searching. It's located in the United States. We'll show you the domains. We'll show you information, IP addresses. This is the DNS server. This is the protection, the email. email server protection that we use Outlook directly. We use a premium account in Outlook. So let's say, for example, now let's go to, let's say, Amazon.ca. We get the IP addresses of all the DNS servers that Amazon use, the co.uk, information about the server mail transfer protocol, information about the domain, the main domain. This is the IP address of Amazon.ca, the subdomains of Amazon.ca, right? Information. This is valuable information, and it's a passive information. It's a passive. Um, this is the way. This is the passive reconnaissance. Is try to get information from websites that are totally free. Actually, it is important to mention that this first step, the step of gathering information, but gathering information in a passive way, is the only part of the penetration testing process that is legal. This is the only part of the penetration testing that you can do it without any authorization from the organization. You can check all this free information that is totally public. It's totally public, right? So, for example, there's another website as well that is called Security Trails. This is another website that actually does the same. It has the same purpose, right? You will get a lot of information about APIs, IP addresses, domains, subdomains, etc., etc. And the good thing is that this website, securitytrails.com, is for free. You can sign up for free. Obviously, they have a premium version that they charge you a fee. But to be honest, for me, the free version works really good. I normally use the free version. I've never used the premium one. I never had the necessity to use the premium version for my operations personally. So it's a really good source of information. There's another one that actually Central Ops. This is another website that helps you to find information. Let's say Tesla.com, information about the organization Tesla. There are some IP addresses that belongs to Tesla, information about the organization. Okay, so valuable information. We cannot go to every detail with because we don't have enough time today to check every detail in the website, but that will be like a homework for you to analyze and to make a research about the websites that I show you today. Okay, so one more thing. Now, what I will do is have you heard before about Bingware Workstation? Bingware Workstation is is a software that allows you to virtualize virtual machines, right? That allows you to run, for example, our best friend Kali Linux. This Kali Linux is the environment, is the operation system that most of the hackers use for their operation. And normally I run it here in Bingware. So to start the operations, if I run here, you will see that we'll start a virtual machine. And this is Kali. I will show you here where you can download that information. VMware Workstation Player. This is for free. VMware Workstation Player. You go here, just accept cookies, you scroll down, and then here you will have two options that will depend of the operation system that you use. You can download Windows, the Windows version, or the Linux version, depends on the operation system you're using. Okay, and if you want, and after you install this software, you will have to download Kali Linux. Kali Linux, that is the hacker platform. You scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, and here, this one, since we have download Bingware, right? Because it's supposed that we download Bingware first. We click here and we start downloading the Kali Linux 4 Bingware workstation player, right? So this is the way that you can download those softwares. I will recommend you to do it as a lab, right? Kali is the password, Kali the password, and this is our best friend and our hacking platform where we normally do all our operations, right? I cannot go to every detail of this platform, but normally where we are gonna move it is here on the terminal. This is the it's I mean, I don't know if you have heard before, like in Windows we have the command prompt, right? We have the command prompt. This is almost the same. The command prompt is like the terminal in Kali Linux. So we can move here. In command prompt, we can go to the file, we can open the file, delete, add, etc. And here we can do the same, right? There are some commands that I will show you. There's some basic commands that we're gonna learn. So yeah, let's continue with this and then we go back to Kali Linux, okay? Let me check if there's any question. Yes, it's like VirtualBox. Bingware is the same as VirtualBox, but if I'm not wrong, Bingware has a premium. They has a premium version, right? I think the VirtualBox is completely free. They don't have a premium version, but I think that Bingware has a premium version. Okay, but what I show you is the free. So uh, that's the free version. You can download it for free and install it, and you can use it freely. Okay. Okay. So yeah, as I said, the difference between Bingware and VirtualBox is that well, starting from the fact that both are different brands, but they do the same. They virtualize environments. So as I said, personally, I prefer VMware. There are some people that prefer VirtualBox. It's totally fine, works the same, but I'm more familiarized with VMware. As I said, VMware has a premium version. They charge you a fee, but I normally use the free version. Works totally fine for me. I never pay for the premium one. I never, as I said, I never had the necessity to pay for the premium version. Okay, so let's continue. Let's continue the hacking process. Faces scanning. When we scan, what we scan, as I said, I think that uh, I did it before we arrived to this slide. I said that when we scan, we use Nmap. Nmap is a tool for scanning. What we scan services, services that are running in a specific port. For example, port one of the most famous ports is port 80, port 443. In big why? Because in those ports run the websites. When you establish connection to a website, let's say Amazon.ca, the port that the website is where is hosted is could be either port 80 or port 443. Nowadays, to be honest, nobody uses port 80 because port 80 is a non-secure port. That means that all the information that goes from the client to the server is not encrypted, is in plain text, and obviously that is not secure. So that means that that nowadays most of the websites run in port 443. Why? Because port 443, that is HTTPS, is the secure standard version of HTTP. That is HTTP secure, right? Because of all the information that goes from the client to the server is totally encrypted. Okay, so after, as I said, we gain access to the system, we exploit the vulnerability on the system. If we this is the most funny part actually. After we scan, after we find a vulnerability, we find a hole in the system, we try to exploit it, and we gain access. We totally control the server. What does that mean? That we can do whatever we want inside the server, right? Sometimes we will require to increase our privileges with some other tools or techniques, and we call that phase as privilege escalation. Sometimes when we get the system, when we control the system, what we does is we get a user account. So when we get the system as a user, obviously we don't have the administrator privileges. We cannot delete, add, modify information in the server. What we do is to try some techniques to increase our privileges, to get the admin ones, and to take the complete or 100 control of the system, right? That is the privilege escalation part. That is actually, I think that yes, I'm always one slide ahead. So the privilege escalation part, as I said, is the part where after we take control of the system, but unfortunately, after we take control of the system, we don't have an admin privileges. We have just a user. For example, let's imagine the user Eduardo, right? We get the system, but our privileges are limited to the user Eduardo. So we apply techniques to increase our privileges. We increase our privileges, and when we increase our privileges, we become administrators. When we become administrators, we can do whatever we want. It's like a game over. It's a checkmate for us. Okay. Yes. After that, we perform the operation. What we can do is to modify the logs. So well, basically is to delete the evidence that we got inside the server or the network, right? So we delete the information, we clear up everything, and well, yes. So this part is it's in a, in a real scenario when we are performing a penetration testing to an organization, the modification of the logs or to clear up the evidence is not 100% required because you have permission to do that, right? So technically, you don't have to delete the evidence because the client knows that what you are doing. I mean, you are previously authorized by the client to do what you're doing. So it's not 100% required to do this step. This step is more for malicious actors. So, for example, if a malicious hacker get inside a network or a server, subtract or retrieve information and or delete or modify something, what the malicious hacker will do is try to delete the evidence or delete any kind of evidence that could lead directly to his name or to him, right? So yeah, I mean, normally this step, this part of the face is very common, but just for malicious actors, right? So let's continue. And well, this is the reporting. That is the last part. The reporting part is after the operation. The ethical hacker or the penetration tester, what it does is to um, create a report, right? To write a complete report. Could be from, I don't know, 20 to 100 pages, where the hacker or the penetration tester will show the vulnerabilities that he or she found during the operation, right? With details, with pictures, with the screenshots. We'll show the client, hey, I found this vulnerability. I recommend you to do this. I recommend you to do that. This is the proof, and the work is done. You get paid, and actually, they pay really well for penetration testing operations nowadays. Okay, so there are different kinds of there are different kinds of penetration testings. I mean, there are some of them that are just focused on web applications, like for example, websites. Let's imagine an organization has their own website and they ask us to perform a penetration testing against their website, right? So that is the web application, or yes, the web application hacking against a particular website, right? The network hacking is when we get inside the network and we map the network, we evaluate the network, we test the network, we try to search vulnerabilities in the network and we report that. Then the wireless network hacking. The wireless network hacking is we test, but not the network with cables. I'm talking about the network with using wireless, like the wireless that you have in your house, for example, the Wi-Fi, right? We test that. We test if the user is using weak passwords or if there's any leak of information about them, etc., etc. Social engineering, we apply phishing, scamming through emails, text messages, pictures, QR codes, etc. Database hacking. The database hacking is directly to the database. For example, could be against a MySQL or MongoDB or any kind of database that exists around the world. We're just going to be focused on that particular database, and we are going to try to get information from that particular database. Now, when we talk about database, also could be the database of the website. The websites also has their own database behind the scene. So when I send a request to the website analyze your request and the website understand what you are trying to do, right? If I send a request to Amazon, right, to see some particular information, what Amazon will, I mean, the website of Amazon will do is to go to the database, will grab the information, and will present it to you in milliseconds. And that is actually the process when we try to get access into a website. We try to get we, we, we try to get into a website, right? We send a request, the website or the server receive the request, analyze the request, and based on your request, we'll grab the information from the database that is behind the scenes. You don't see that, and we'll show you the information then. Okay? Malware and reverse engineering. This is one of the most difficult parts for the ethical hacking. You require to know some coding and also low-level programming, right? Low-level programming, you will require to know x86. Um, so it's this is the like the most difficult part of the ethical hacking. It's not 100% required, but if you know how to analyze a malware or to apply a reverse engineering to a hardware, for example, let's imagine we have a board, a cardboard, right, in a laptop, and we try to analyze it, right, and we have to apply the reverse engineering to that against to that particular hardware. That part requires some tools, right, and that part requires a lot of processing and requires also to know a little bit of low level programming, like x86 or assembly code. It's I can say that it's a medium advanced level. Okay, and also cryptography. That is a science to encrypt and decrypt the information that go through one place to another. Okay, so well, these are the certifications, um, the biggest companies that offer certificates around the world. There's Microsoft, Cisco, Amazon, Google, Easy Council, CompTIA, Offensive Security. These guys, Offensive Security, this one, Offensive Security, are the owners of, sorry, these guys, Offensive Security, are the owners of this guy, of Kali Linux. They are the creators. They are the ones who creates, who have created Kali Linux, and they have one of the most famous certificates around the world. That is the OSCP. The OSCP certificate is a medium advanced certificate for ethical hackers, for pen testers, right? And are these guys. And last but not least, OWASP. Okay, so there are some websites like we can use to practice, right? Because as I said, hacking is illegal. If you don't have previous authorization from the organization, hacking is illegal. So there are some platforms that you can use, right, to learn hacking, right? For example, these workshops to get involved with Schaltius cybersecurity program. There are some other platforms that you can use. I will show you here in the chat. For example, try hack me, hack the box, Pound Labs, right? These are some famous platforms that you can use to learn. Boomhub, app is the one that I am presenting here on the slides. It's a website where you can download your own virtual machines, and then you will need to use VMware to run them. Okay, time for some hands-on. Perfect. So let's go. This is the best part. So let's go here to, let's go here to Kali, and let's put our password. Oh, by the way, the username and the password is Kali. It's the same per default. It's Kali Kali. Okay. Okay. So let's start with some basic commands, right? So you have to imagine this like you are using your Windows machine, right? When we open our Windows machine, the the beauty of Windows is that everything is graphical interface, right? Everything on Windows is graphical interface. If I go here, if I open this, everything is graphical interface. If I click here, if I click here, if I click on these files, if I click here, if I click here, everything is graphical interface. Actually, Kali Linux, or the Linux OS, has also the graphical interface, but normally nobody uses them. If we go here, we can see the graphical interface. We can see all the tools that Kali Linux has per default, right? For information gathering, for vulnerability analysis, for web application analysis, database assessment, password attacks, wireless attacks, reverse engineering, exploitation tools, etc., etc. But how the real hackers work is through this terminal. The terminal is, as I said, like the command prompt on Windows. Windows has their command prompt. 90% of the things that you do, or maybe 95% of the things that you do in Windows are through a graphical interface, right? But maybe some people doesn't know that you have the command prompt. The command prompt is the line interface way where you can control your computer from here, from this bar, from this prompt. Or instead of command prompt, you can use also PowerShell. This one, you can use PowerShell. That is almost the same, but it's more powerful, right? And use different types, and the format of the commands is different, but it's very powerful. PowerShell. So this is the way that you can control your computer by command line. Here in Kali Linux or in Linux operation system, 90% of the things are doing by command line. So that means that we have to learn some basic commands to move here. I mean, like to move from one place to another place, to go to create files, to delete files, to move one file to create a directory, to move one file from one directory to a different directory, etc., etc. So the first command that I will show you is the first thing that we normally want to know is what is our IP address. There are two ways to check that. The first one is right, if config to check our IP address. This is my internal IP address, the private IP address that my router in my house is assigning me, right? Information about the information about the IP that the router is assigning me. Okay, so there's another command for that. That is IPA. It's the same, actually, is the same thing, but however, the the response is with some nice colors, but the information is basically the same, right? So this is the same IP that you saw before, right? There's another command. There's another command that is very important, that is ls, that stands for list. List, right? That is ls. What we do is with ls, we present all the directories that are in the in our user space, right? Look, we have desktop, we have documents, we have downloads, music, picture, public, checklist. These are some of the tools that I use. So ls is to show what is inside that particular site, in that particular place where I'm located right now in the system. But how do I know where I am? I mean, how do I know in which part of the system I'm located right now? PWD. PWD will show us in which part of the system we are. We are in home, Cali. This is the place where we are located right now. Okay? What is who I am? I don't know who I am in the system. Who I am. Let's ask Cali who we are. We are Cali. We are the user Cali, right? If we are like a little saturated about the information that we have on the screen, what we can do is to clear or to clean the screen, and the command for that is clear. If we type clear, we clean the our page, right? So after that, as you were able to see, ls to list all the commands. Now what we want to do is to get inside this part, documents. How we get inside that directory, that is documents. We type cd, that stands for change directory, and then we type document. So change directory, documents. And now, as you can see here, we are not longer in slash home slash Kali. We are in slash home slash Kali slash documents. If I ask where I am home Kali documents. So I'm inside the documents directory. Change directory, documents. So now that I'm inside, I will clean my page. And now what I would like to do is to create a file. We can create like a file like this one, for example. If I'm in Windows, I always try to show the students what are the similarities with Windows, because most of the people um are more familiarized with Windows OS than Linux, because it's more. I mean, Windows is more popular. We all know that. Not everybody knows how to manage Linux OS. So I normally try to show the similarities between Windows and Linux. So what we're gonna do here is, as you can see here, there's a notepad here, right? If I have a notepad here, I can put hello, and I can save this file as a hello.txt, right? We are not going to save this file, but I can do it. I can save this file, and I can put the extension of that txt, right? We can do the same here with the command nano. Nano, let's say workshop that txt. We're going to create this file, workshop.txt. So here inside we're gonna type, we're gonna write hello. This is my first this is my first class about Okay, so then here we Control X to exit, and will ask us save modify buffer. Why? Yes, and we save the file. Now we have the file here, right, in documents. But actually, this is, as I said, this is the command line interface. If we go back here, if we go here to home, this is the graphical interface. And if we go here to documents, we are gonna see the file. Look, workshop.txt. This is the file that we have just created. If I open it, we'll say, hello, this is my first class about the ethical hacking. Okay, so we close this. That is the graphical interface. And now what we're gonna do is to read from the command line as ethical hackers, right? To read the document, what is inside that document, because I would like to read the file. So the command to read the file, it's cat, CAA, concatenate, cat word, and we can read what is inside the document, right? Let's imagine that I want to move this file. I would like to move this file from here. Let's imagine that we want to move it to downloads. Let's move the file from documents to downloads. How we do that? Easy. We go to documents again because I left the directory, change documents. We are here, we clean the page, ls to see what is inside, and we have workshop.txt. How can we do that? How can we move the file from one place to another place? Sudo. When I type sudo, that means that I'm increasing my privileges. I'm increasing just for a bit, just for that line. I'm increasing my privileges. Why? My name, as you remember, is Kelly. It's not root. Root is like the administrator, but for Linux OS, right? So sudo is the command to increase your privileges for a little bit, just for one line, right? It's not a, it won't be a constant administrating privileges. Will just work for one line. Sudo MV, that stands for move workshop. And now we said that we were planning to move the the txt file from documents to downloads, right? And where is downloads? Downloads is in, first we have to put the file that we want to move, and then we have to put the location where the file will go, slash home, slash carry, slash downloads. If we click, since we are using sudo, since we are increasing our privileges, will require to put our password. That in this case is the same, Kali. Kali, I know that you cannot see, but I'm typing. It's for security measures. And now, if we check, if we have a file here, we don't have anything. Why? Because we have moved it. How we go back? How we go back to the home page? We type cd, just cd. If we type cd, we go back to the beginning, and we clean the page. And now let's go inside downloads. Downloads, if we have moved it. Now we have moved the file. We have it here. We have moved the file from documents to downloads. These are basic commands. I know that sometimes the basic things are a little boring, uh, but in order to learn how to use more tools, I mean, the real tools and the real funny things in the ethical hacking world, it's mandatory. It's necessary to learn the basics. And the basics are this, like to move one file to another, to from one place to another place, how to read the files. For example, if I try to read it, I will see that is the file that I copy. But now let's imagine that I would like to delete this file. I don't want that file anymore, right? How we delete the file? RM, remove. RM stands for remove file, workshop, T. And if we check again, we don't have the file anymore. We just delete it. We just delete the file, just typing RM. That is remove workshop, right? So now let's go back to the beginning again, right? We can see here that we have different color. We have the blue here, right? And as you remember, when we create the file that was workshop.txt was white, right? Because those files are common files like txt files or readable files. But this blue thing are directories, right? That's the characteristic. And these ones are executable, that we can execute these files. The blue ones are directories, these are executable, and the other ones, like the one that I created, are text files, files that you can read, that you can insert code or letters, etc., etc. So how can we create a directory like this one? Because inside a directory, you can create files. So how we can create another directory like desktop, documents, downloads, music, pictures, public, checklist, etc. mkdir, and let's say mkdir, and let's create a directory, but now instead of a file will be a directory, work. Now this 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 word, instead of a file like a text file, will be a directory. Now if we go here, as you can see here, we have a directory here, and the directory is workshop. If we try to get inside the directory cd workshop, we can get inside. If we check what is inside, obviously we don't have anything because we haven't created anything, right? But let's create the file nano workshop.txt again. Let's say the file will say Control X. Yes, to save the file. And we have the file here. So we have the file here inside. We read what is inside. Hello again. Now, command is very useful is the copy command. Is this is this is very similar that the move command, but actually instead of moving the file, we are gonna copy the file, right? Because before you remember that the file disappeared, right? Because we moved the file. But now what we're gonna do is we're gonna copy the file. We're gonna keep the file here in this directory, and we're going to copy the file into a different directory. So we have the file here that is workshop, right? So let's imagine, let's say that I want to move this file. I want to copy, sorry, this file to a different directory, to documents, for example. Sudo cp 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 stands for copy workshop c, and let's let's put the file here, home Kali slash document, right? Home Kali documents, and let's copy the file. Now we will keep the file here because we haven't moved it. We have copied the file. We have the file here, and if we go back here, we open ls, and then we go to cd documents. We get inside, and as you can see here in documents, we have copied the file. We have the file here in documents, and we also have the file here in workshop. So if I try to read the file, it will be the same because the file that I have here is the file that I had in workshop, right? Because I copied. If I want to remove the file from here, remove, yes, and the file is not here anymore. Now, now, what I will teach you is how to delete completely that directory. To delete that directory, we require to add one parameter. You remember the way to remove a file was with the command rm. Okay, so to remove a directory is a little bit different. We use the same command, but we have to add some other parameters. Sudo to increase our privileges. M stands for remove. -R. -R, that is for directories. And -R is delete everything that is inside that particular directory. Work up and enter. And if we type ls, that directory is not here anymore, right? And the last thing that I want to show you before we continue with the slides is how to increase your privileges as a root, like an administrator, but not just for one line, but forever. I mean, for the time you want, right? For the amount of time you require. We need to type sudo to increase your privileges. Sudo su. If we type sudo su, we are asking the system to increase our privileges from Kali, that is our user, to root. Root is the administrator. And now we are root. Technically, with root or administrator, we can do everything. We can do whatever we want, right? Sometimes it's not recommendable to use root forever because sometimes you can download things that maybe you don't want, and since you are root, you will download it automatically, right? So sometimes it's safer to be as just Kali. So how we go back to our Kali user with the command exit, enter, and we are again Kali. Okay, that was the last thing about the basic commands that I wanted to show you. I know again that the basic commands sometimes are a little boring because especially because I mean people normally wants to see hacking at the beginning, but to be honest, the first things is the fundamentals that are to learn these basic things, the basic things of how to copy a file, how to create a file, how to move one file from one place to another, um, how to see what is the IP address, how to increase your privileges, how to remove a file, how to create a directory, etc., etc. I promise you that at the end of this session, I will try to show you something interesting, like SQL injection attack. I think that yesterday um, we were discussing about that. Okay, so let me share my screen right now. Can you see my screen? Can I see the thumbs up, please? Can I see you? Yes, you can hear me, and you can see my screen as well. Okay, perfect. So that means that you can hear me. Amazing. So, um, as I said yesterday, I will reduce the size of the PowerPoint in order to help me to do some movements or um, some movements from one place to another faster, right? So I will keep the PPT open like this. I won't increase the size to complete the, the screen size in order to help me to move faster from one place to another, because what we don't want to do is to lose time in our sessions. So I will try to cover as much as possible. So definitely you will learn um, something important today. And as I said at the beginning, I will try to show you a real SQL injection attack by the end of the lesson today. Okay, so thank you for joining, and let's start. Okay, as I usually do, as I usually do at the beginning of my sessions, this is something mandatory for me. I normally tell my students hacking is illegal. Don't do illegal hacking against organizations or any person. Hacking is illegal, okay? Don't do it without the proper authorization before. Um, okay, so don't use these techniques against organizations without previous authorization, because you can actually everything that I will teach you today, you can replicate it into different organizations, so it doesn't matter. um, but the point is that doing this kind of things without previous authorization is not allowed. Okay, so don't replicate it if you don't have permission. Okay, so as we were discussing yesterday, the first, there are some steps that the penetration tester does in a penetration testing operation. The first step, I don't know if you remember that the first step was gathering information in a passive and in an active way, right? So, starting from that point, there are some tools that we can use to get as much information as possible about an organization. And since there are two ways to do it, that is passive and active, active means that we are going to generate some noise in the infrastructure of the target. That means that we are going to send packages, we are going to send noise, we are going to send traffic. So there are some tools that we can use to get information about them, right? To force the information by brute force, right? For example, to get the information about the IP addresses, to get information about subdomains, to get information about directories that are hidden. So everything everything that I have mentioned is part of the active scanning. We make a lot of noise in the network of the target, but sometimes when we generate a lot of traffic in the network of the target, the security systems or the perimeter security that the target could use, like for example, web application firewalls or maybe an IPS or an IPS or maybe an anti-malware software, etc., can block or can detect our activities and could block our IP address, right? But, however, there are some other methods to do it in a passive way, and that is the gathering information in a passive way, right? There are some free sources around the world. There are some free websites. There's there are free sources around the world that we can take advantage of it to get in as much information as possible, right? And the passive scanning that is free information that we can get from internet, like such as LinkedIn, some particular websites like Security Trails, like Central Ops, like DNS Dumpster, etc. All those, all those websites provide the information for free to any person. So this is the only part of the penetration testing process that is legal, that is considered to be legal, because the information that you get is totally free and you can get it on the internet. You can use a third party resource to get that information. That is the only part that is you are not generating any traffic, or you are not sending any request directly to the target. So that is why this step, that is the passive scanning, it's is the only part, the only step that is legal. So I will show you some websites that will help you to get some information about the possible targets. So you can get information from advanced search engines, like for example Google. There are some people that says, personally, I say that Google is your best friend when you are an ethical hacker. Google definitely is your best friend because you can get as much information as possible about the target. The social media sites, definitely GitHub, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, um, Telegram, right? So there's a bunch of information that you can get for free utilizing this kind of resources, right? The APIs, advanced tools, deep web and dark web. So definitely to get access into the deep web and dark web, you need some extra resources that I will show you, the browser that you can use to get access to the deep web and the dark web. Be careful when you get there, because sometimes you can find things that maybe you didn't want to see or you didn't want to search. Some weird and tricky information at the same time, because there's a lot of scammers, right? There's a lot of scammers in the dark web and the deep web. So be careful when you are there. There at the same time, you can get valuable information from that place. So normally, to get access to the dark web and the deep web, we use a source, that is a browser, like the browser that I'm using right now. The browser that I'm using right now is Google Chrome, right? So there are some others like Firefox, Explorer, etc. So in order to get access to the dark web, to the deep web, there's a browser that is called Tor Project. This one, it's for free. It's very secure, and you can download it here. Download Tor browser. You can install it, and you can start browsing any website you want. And obviously, there are some others that belongs to the dark web that doesn't have the same extension as the normal websites have. Like, for example, they end instead of .com, they end in .onion, right? Instead of here .org, O-R-G, they finish with .onion, right? So this is one of the ways you can get access into the dark web. And but again, be careful with that. With all the precautions, use antiviruses in your computers, etc., etc. Um, so this project basically born for one reason actually. There are some countries that doesn't have free speech, right? They don't have the freedom to express their opinions because of um, the government sometimes could track your IP address and so on. And this browser, technically, what it does is to encrypt your information, to protect yourself in case you want to publish something, so nobody will know where you really are. There's a technology behind this browser that is really nice. uh, we don't have time today, so you can google that. You can search for the technology behind this project on YouTube. I'm pretty sure that you will find nice resources there. Um I don't have time to explain you by details how this project works and how the information is encrypted by nodes, right? Because there's a lot of nodes during the process. Through the process, that the information is going from one point to another. So it's really nice. This is a really good place where you can find valuable information about targets as well, right? When you are performing a penetration testing, this is a good place. This is a good place to get information about the targets. Okay, so what is OSINT? Open Source Intelligence. When we apply OSINT, OSINT is to get as much information as possible about the target, to get information through media, articles, report, internet, right? Deliverables, interviews, etc., etc. We get information from all the resources that are available for free, and we can get access for free, right? About our potential target. Let's put, for today, let's put a name to that target, right? Let's say that the target today will be, let's say, Tesla. Tesla, the Elon Musk company. Let's say that and we're gonna use some free resources to get information about the Tesla domain, tesla.com, for example, right? We're gonna get information from there, from Google, etc., etc. Okay, so who uses OSINT, right? Law enforcement, FBI, the NSA, the CIA, that are American agencies, private investigators, the amateur internet, and obviously you and me, because we're going to use that open. We're going to use OSINT today to get information, to get a little bit of information, free information, without making any damage to the infrastructure of Tesla. Okay, and stalker, creeps, and perverts, ex-husband, wife, boyfriends, girlfriends, with the grudge or vendetta. Obviously, not you or me. Okay, so I think that I showed you yesterday some resources that you can use. For example, one of them is DNS Dumpster. DNS Dumpster is resource that you can use to get as much information as possible about a domain, right? We all know, we all know, if I put here Tesla, that I will go directly to the Tesla website, right? Here we can find nice cars. We can order a model, the new model. We can see the characteristics of the cars. We can um, we can ask for a demo drive, etc., etc. So yeah, we know that Tesla.com is the official website of Tesla. Amazing. So if we go to DNS dumpster again, and we text, we write here the domain of Tesla, tesla.com, and we press search, what we're gonna get? We're gonna get a lot of information about that particular domain. And as I said at the beginning, this is a free source, this is free information. So this is the only and unique part of the penetration testing that is legal, because we're gonna get a lot of information for free about the organization. Look, about the domain is located in the United States. That means that the servers, most of the servers are located in the United States. Look, there's a color here. Netherlands. Seems like they have two servers as well in Netherlands. Okay, if we scroll down, we can see the DNS servers. Also, what is the service provider? Akamai. Look, this is the this is Akamai is a security company. It's a big cybersecurity company that provides security to the infrastructures and also websites of different organizations. It's my favorite company in the world about cybersecurity and security protection. Their products are amazing, so Tesla used them. Amazing. So this is the DNS server, the IP address of the DNS server. If we scroll down, we see, look, we see that Tesla is using Outlook. There's the IP that they're using. If we scroll down, we can see the TXT records. If we scroll down, we can see as well information about the domain directly, the domain, and also the subdomains that belongs to Tesla, that IP address, and Akamai again, helping with the security. Look, look this one, email one.tesla.com. This one is a subdomain. So after you get that information, you may remember that the next step is the scanning part. So how we're gonna use this information for our scanning part. The scanning part is not allowed if you don't have permission. So how we're gonna use, how we're gonna take an advantage of this information, of this particular information, right? For our scanning part, we are gonna take the IP addresses that are very valuable for us, because we're gonna scan the IP addresses. Obviously, not in a real scenario because we don't have permission to do that, but that is the next step, the scanning. We have the subdomains, we have the domains, and we have the IP addresses here that we can scan, and we can get more information about the organization. Look, there's a lot. Yeah, there's plenty of subdomains here. Wow. And I guess that they have more actually. There's another website to get information. Now we are talking about how we can get as much information as possible about the target. Security Trails. Security Trails. Security Trails is my favorite website from the beginning when I have started as a penetration tester. This is my favorite research because this platform, this engine, provides you as much information as possible about the organization. Even more information than DNS dumpster, actually, right? So the only thing you have to do is to sign up for free. There's a premium version for this platform, but to be honest, I never used the premium version. For in my case, I don't know. I mean, that's a personal opinion. Um, I never had the necessity to use the premium version. I always use the free one, and I always get as much information as possible about my targets in the penetration testing that I did in the past. There's another website that is called Central Central Ops is a very similar website where you can insert here the name of the domain, in this case, but this is the last resource that I use. It doesn't provide you the same amount of information as DNS dumpster or security trails, and there are some others, right? So if, for example, if I go click, we're gonna see some IP addresses, but it doesn't show you to who belong those IP addresses. That is something that you can get from security trails and DNS dumpster. That is why sometimes I mean it's very weird, you know, in a very it's very strange if I use this resource, but it's good to have it as a backup sometimes, right? If I put services scan, trace root, okay, so here are the IP addresses. Here are some information about the DNS records of Tesla. What else? Well, there's a lot of information actually here, right? We can get a lot of information. Well, as we saw, as we were seeing before, Akama International is the organization that provides security for them. The TXT records, yes. So the trace route. Well, this is like an online service scan, right? Okay, this is some of the tools that you can use to get information about an organization. It's a really great point to start, right? It's a good point to start your operation. So you get information about them, you get the IP addresses, you get the domains, you get the subdomains about the organization, and then you proceed with the scanning, right? And so how does one OSINT? You, as I said, we can get information from different type of resources, and then we analyze them. But the core of this are sites, forum, blogs, social networks, social media, and so on. So here we have more tools that we can use. Um, we have Shodan, Foca, Maltego, Recon NG. I will tell you something. I have used all of these tools in my operations, okay? But I will recommend you two of them particularly, Shodan and Maltego. These are open source intelligence tools where you can get a lot of information about devices, about sources, about domains. So I want to show you this because this is a great opportunity for you to learn. Um, you can see my screen, right? Can you show me with your thumbs? Yeah, amazing. So I will show you um, two resources that is Shodan and Maltego that are resources for free that actually are previously, well, one of them that is Maltego is previously installed in our Kali Linux. It comes with Kali. Okay, so as you remember, if you join us yesterday, you will remember that the password for Kali Linux is Kali Kali, right? Let's get started with some hands-on things. this is the best place for hackers, right? Kali Linux, our best friend. Okay, let's open a terminal. Remember that one of the things that I said yesterday, 95% maybe of the things that you're gonna do in Kali Linux are made it through the terminal. That actually, if we try to make a comparison between a Linux operation system and Windows operation system, would be like the command prompt. That is the one that we have in Windows, and also PowerShell is another resource that we have in our Windows machine, right? But as you know, in Windows, it's not typical to use the command interface or the command line interface. We normally use the graphical interface, right? We have the graphs, we just click, double click, right click, etc., etc. So in Linux, it's a little bit different. We use the terminal. You remember the commands that we learned yesterday, right? The commands to create, delete, move, copy, to see our IP address, etc., etc. So this is one of the tools that I want to show you. So when you install your Kali Linux, you will you will be able to get access to Shodan and also to get access to Maltego. Maltego is a powerful tool. If I'm not wrong, the way to run our Maltego is just type in Maltego. We just need to wait a little bit. So Maltego is starting. I will show you very briefly how it looks. I'm not gonna register it right now because we don't have time to show you every detail. It's a cancel. Okay, so uh, this one. Okay, so this is how it looks. We okay, so it seems like yes. So this since this is the first time that I'm opening Maltego. Okay, so yeah, so I need to log in order to get access to insert my credentials here. But technically, I just wanted to show you how it looks. So after you join, after you log in, you insert your email and your credentials, and you successfully log into Maltego, you will see this screen. You will see this dashboard that we have here in the background, and you will see that will show you a board, a whiteboard. In that whiteboard, you will have some options in the left column. In that left column, will you will have the possibility to insert the name of the domain, and from that point you will be able to right click on the domain and to get information about emails, to get information about telephone numbers, to get information about subdomains, to get information about IP addresses, to get information about DNS servers, to get information about email servers. So I really recommend you to learn how to use this tool. Um, well, that I mean, in order to get access, that will take us like half an hour, and we don't have time right now to. But I just wanted to show you, right, uh, the way that you can use this amazing tool for free, right? So, however, I can show you. I can show you a picture. I can show you a picture of how it looks like after you make the research. Maltego. After you make the research, you can get um, you can get a page like this. Look, this is amazing actually. Like this. Okay, so sorry about that. So something like this, right? Information. Here we start with the domain. In this case, the name is malteco.com, but obviously we are not going to search for that. We're going to search for interesting things, right? So here is the domain, and here are the DNS servers. We have here also IP addresses. We can get information about the employees. Let's check another picture. Um, Look, this one. This research was insane. Look at this. Look at this. And it's as simple as just clicking, right? Here is the left column that I was talking about. If we ask Malteco to make a research about any of the information here, like IP addresses, domains, DNS servers, um, information about and organizations like email addresses, telephone numbers, location, etc., you can get it with this. And this tool actually is for free. And they have the premium version as well. Okay, and the other one I wanted to show you is Shodan. This is an engine. Shodan is a search engine that interconnects all the devices that have a public IP address in the world. So what Shodan does is to interconnect, and to gather, to get as much information as possible of all the devices that are interconnected in the world. Every device that use a public IP address will be here in this platform. So um, so this, I will really recommend you to use this password to get a lot of information about vulnerabilities, about information of different resources around the world. The nice thing of this platform is that you can get information, right, about IoT devices. For the For the people that doesn't know what is IoT, IoT stands for Internet of Things. So nowadays, as you know, there are everything can get access to the internet. Your television, your smart TV, maybe a coffee maker. It's not limited to computers and laptops like in the past, or your cell phone. Now you can have smart houses like that that have an alarm, and the alarm is connected to the router, or the coffee maker that is connected to the router, or your refrigerator that is connected to the router or the modem in your house. So everything is interconnected nowadays around the world, because everything is interconnected and is connected directly to the internet. And every device every device that is connecting to the internet Shodan will track it and will store information about it. And if there's any particular vulnerability on it, you will be able to exploit it, obviously with permission, right? With authorization. Okay, so let's continue. Let's continue. Okay, so we are here. Yes. Okay, so what does a Google Dork look like? Like this, look. This is a Google Dork. So a Google Dork basically is a way on how we can use Google in our favor to get as much information about a specific resource, right? As you can see here, we can try to search information about PDF files, Word files, Excel files, about an organization. Here, the site is pastvin.com, but we are specifying the name Netflix. So maybe there's a link between Pastvin and Netflix. So Google will show us that information if we use the Google Doc, right? There are some resources here I will show you so you can make your own research about it. Okay, so we can go here. This is a free cheat sheet, 2024 cheat sheet for Google Dorking. So how to use Google Docs, because um, every way to check information about something, there's a particular command for all of this. For example, if we want to specify that we want PDFs, here is the command that we have to apply. File type PDF, file type XLS, and so on. Look, location, login pages, in URL, login, in title, login, because this will help us to get information about login pages, to get information about files that sometimes organizations forget to hide, right? Sometimes the organizations publish information about their companies, right? And they forget to hide that particular information, right, in a private part of the website. And those files, those PDF files, Word files, XLS files, are are available for people that doesn't have authorization to see. So this way, the Google Doc will help us to get information about that specific thing, right? What else? Well, we have here a lot of look. This is amazing to show you is exactly how to make the research. This is the complete list actually. I really recommend you to use it. That is Google Dorking. It's utilize Google to help us to get as much information as possible about the domain. Okay, so let's go to the next one. A word of caution. Oh, this is a joke actually. Google doesn't like you. It only likes your data. It's a secret. Yeah, that's true. I mean, Google doesn't like you. They just like to get as much information as possible about you, right? So be careful with the information that you insert in the social media, because everything is indexed today nowadays. So be careful with that. Okay, perfect. So as I show you, um, this is the website, the official website of Maltego. Actually, I didn't show you the official website. I went directly to the tool, because that is the nice ways to do the things, right? And I think that I show you the website of shodan.io. Well, there are some others, like for example GitHub thing, the Harvester, that is a tool that we can use in Kali as well. The Harvester is a tool. You can make a research about it. It's a powerful tool to get information about emails and telephone numbers and employees in an organization. This one, tiny.com. But to be honest, being really honest, the best two tools to get information, like on huge organizations, right, is Maltego and Shodan, right? If you are doing a penetration testing to a medium or a small organization, I would recommend you to go to the resources that I shared at the beginning. That is Security Trails, DNS Dumpster, and Central Ops. But for big researchers, Maltego and Shodan are will be your best friends, and also Google. Obviously, Google is the best actually. Okay, so um, this is well again information that you normally get when you do the OSINT, username, emails, domain name, IP addresses, etc., etc., etc. So this is how it looks. I think that I already showed you. Well, this is an old-fashioned version of the web page, right? This is an old-fashioned screenshot. The new one looks very similar. They have changed a little bit the the front page of the domain. And this is how it looks Maltego, as you can see here. Amazing. So you you start from, for example, here the person has started from an email, just from an email, and has been collected information about it, right? So now we are applying some Google Dorking, right? This is the like a representation of how to do it. Google attacks, Google Dorking, as I show you in the website, that free website where you can get the commands or the way to request or to search for information about the organization, right? Yeah, this is it's almost the same, almost the same. The Google attacks. People tend to reuse usernames, handles, etc. So if we can find some target IT personal owner resource like LinkedIn, Facebook, or Twitter, and do some searching for common handles they like to use, sometimes you end up with system administrator posting complete firewall configurations onto public websites. So yeah, the reason that we use Google Dorking is because of people, organizations are not aware about security measures. They don't really apply security measures, and sometimes because of some negligence, they drop files in PDF, they drop files in Word that could contain critical information about their organizations, like usernames, password, social security numbers, credit cards, names of the employees, and information could be maybe, who knows, information about their families and so on. So this way of OSINT is very powerful. Okay, so well, there's another resource that we can use as well, that is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a very useful resource because we know, I mean, at, starting from the point that as soon as we get information about the person, we we automatically know where that person is working, right? First, second, where he has worked. Third, what is the field and what are their likes, right? What that person likes. If that person, for example, likes, I don't know, golfing, golfing, right? To play golf, I if I'm doing an operation, a penetration testing operation, sorry, I can send I can send that to that particular person a phishing attack talking about golfing because I will know something about him, right, or her, right? So this these resources sometimes show more information that they really have to show to the public. And the good point is that actually people is showing their information for free. So it's part of the mind of the hacker how to create or how to build a proper or a very useful attack against that person that maybe, as I said, could like golfing, could like soccer, could like different things. So I can create my own phishing attacks, that are built based on their likes, based on their thoughts. What that people likes, what this particular person doesn't like, right? So these resources help us a lot to create phishing, and to be focused on social engineering attacks nowadays. Okay, so additional search resources. Don't put all your operators in one basket, try multiple sources. You can uh, Gentex, look, this is a Russian search engine, many operators to filter out data. Oh, instead of Google, you can use Bing as well. Bing is really famous and is powerful as well. And there are the data to get information. There's some indexes called snippets and HTML and JavaScript. For people that are not familiarized with this, these are programming languages. HTML and JavaScript are very useful is to create websites. The, well, there's one that is missing here, that is CSS. CSS, JavaScript, and HTML are the core of all the websites. Is how we create the websites. Every time that you see a website, behind the website, behind the behind the I mean, behind that particular website that you are seeing in real life, there's code. And what is that code? HTML, JavaScript, CSS. Could be some other technologies, yes, but that is the core. JavaScript, CSS, and HTML. If we go to a website like, for example, Google, or no, not Google, let's go to Tesla, tesla.com, and we click on Control U, we are gonna see this is the HTML, JavaScript, and CSS code that is behind the website. Sometimes there are some developers that forget that they include some comments or information about the website that they shouldn't, and there are some malicious hackers that can take advantage of it, and they can find that information here in the source code, right? This is the source code of Tesla. Look, basically what we are seeing here in this page is what we see here in the main website. But as I said, what we can see here in the front page of Tesla.com actually is built by code that is in this case HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. Okay, so let's go back here. Yeah, other resources, again, Google Advanced Search, Internet Search Engine. Well done. Look, here. Oh, I remember this website, archive.org. Archive.org is it's a website to get information about the screenshots of previous um, how the website looks like 10 years ago or 15 years ago, or I don't know. I think that it goes up to 1990, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, it's really nice. Actually, doesn't help you too much for penetration testing operations, but it's fun to see how the website looks like in the past, right? Wireless communication. These are websites that could help you with to find wireless communications like routers, where are located, modems, the models, information about them, etc. Um, Searching IP and domains, as I show you, the sources where we can find information, right? There is a website that I think I will show you. I will show you. There's another source that you can use, that is DNS info. Wait, this website. Look, there's a lot of websites that you can use to get information about the DNS of the domains. View DNS is a powerful tool as well. Look, you can, for example, let's I mean let's insert tesla.com to see um, to compare this tool with the ones that I showed you before, that is Security Trails, DNS Dumpster, and Central Ops, and also Maltego and Shodan. So let's put tesla.com. Let's see if we can get some information. Okay, so not too much, not too much. I was expecting more. Let's put it. Well, this is like an reverse who is lookup to here. Oh, here we have more information about them, and also, okay, not very useful, but oh, IP location finder. Let's see. Maybe they, obviously I think that will show United States or not. No, doesn't show you any information about it. Reverse, oh, the mail servers. I think that we saw that I think that that we found that Tesla.com was using Outlook. Doesn't say anything, so it's not very powerful. This one is not like very powerful. Let's check what we get here. Okay, well, there's a lot of information here. Yes, this one. Oh, a lot of IP addresses. Look, it seems that like all of these IP addresses belongs to Tesla, and the IP address owner, Akamai, that's the security provider. Yes. What happens if I modify the directly? Okay. Well, not like very useful, but it's another resource you can use. Well, there are some websites that you can use to know if the website is trusted or not. As you know, there are some malicious actors around there that will try to take advantage of your weaknesses, and sometimes they could send you a phishing email or a malicious email that could contain a malicious URL. So one of the ways to check if that URL is malicious or not is to use resources like VirusTotal. VirusTotal is a website that helps you to upload files, to analyze files, and also to check for URLs, right? Let's imagine that you have a file that maybe you don't trust too much about it. You can upload it here, and VirusTotal will check the file, will analyze the file, and will show you information about it. And in case that the file is malicious, we'll let you know, right? And also with the URLs. Let's imagine, Tesla.com. Obviously, Tesla is completely clean. There's a lot of engines and security companies that are here: Abusix, Bitdefender, What else? ESET is very well known. All of them shows, and there are some others that hasn't rated the website, but you can check here if a website is malicious or not. This is a good resource. Get that. Amazing. Let's continue. Let's continue. Well, yeah, there are some tools that can automate the process that you can use from Kali Linux, from our platform, right? That automate this process. But actually, to be honest, to be really honest, in my opinion, and maybe for me particularly, the passive scannings of the passive mechanisms utilizing this kind of sources is more than enough. The tools that we can use utilizing or using Kali Linux that are for free as well will show you the same information that you can get from the website, from security trails, DNS dumpster, central log, Shodan, Maltego, etc. So, I mean, if you like to use like 100% of the time the command line to get the information, you can use it. I mean, it's completely fine. But the first step, that is gathering information in a passive way, I would really recommend you to use the sources that I share with you. Are more powerful sometimes, and you can get more information that from these passive tools through command line. Okay, so I think that I already showed you about Tor. Yes, Tor is the browser that I showed you at the beginning of the session that talks about that actually is a browser that technically encrypts all your data. So the purpose of Tor, as I said at the beginning, that Tor is actually a browser that works really good in countries where there are not free of speech. So people that 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 want to share their opinions or their thoughts about something, about a particular topic, about the government, etc., they use those platforms because sometimes your government or the governments could track your IP and they could know where you are located, your exact position. So, technically, with this tool, you can pretend that you are in a different part of the world. It's like a VPN, but actually it's more robust. It's more, provides you um, more layers of security, but works like a VPN. I'm pretty sure you have heard about VPNs before, the virtual private networks. So works like that, but actually provides you more information, more security than a normal VPN, right? So this is the representation of some free tools that we can use in Kali Linux, like Recon Engine, as I said. Um, this is for passive reconnaissance, for passive collecting information in a passive way. So yeah, definitely these are good tools. But again, as I said, uh, using the free resources that I share with you will provide you more information that these tools. This is Recon NG. This is a tool that you can see, that you can find here in Kali actually. This is Recon. This is a tool. Yes. Oh, by the way, if you want help, if you want help about the tool in Kali Linux, it's as simple as just type dash h. Recon. If you don't know how to use the tool, there will be a if you type dash h, Kali will show you the way on how you can run the tool here. And also, if you want more information about it, just type man, M-A-N, and we'll show you more information about the tool. Every tool that you use in Kali Linux, every tool that you use in Kali Linux will be here. So for example, today we are gonna use Nmap. Nmap is the tool that we discussed yesterday. That is the network map. What it does is to check for ports that are open and services, and also what is the version of those services that are running in particular ports in the server. So for example, Nmap, this is the tool that we're gonna use today. Look, this is the tool that we're gonna use, Nmap, to map the network, to see which port is open or closed, right? So this is some information about Nmap, right? You can see here some information about it. But we can use also -h. Will show you the same information, but we can use man as well. Man is like the manual of Kali Linux, the manual information about tools that you can get in Kali. Man and map. You get more information about it, and also you get a huge description about the tool. So we go down. Oh, look, this is amazing. They show you examples how to use it and how it looks the response. This is really good. This is really nice. Okay, anyway, I will show you how to use it. So in a few moments, in a moment, I will show you how to use it. So don't worry. Okay, these are some of the webs that we have checked before, the virus total, and there are some others that actually does the same. They do the same. They have the same purpose to analyze files and to analyze URLs, etc., like malware.com, threatexpert.com, CW Sandbox, and Google Sandbox. So in my opinion, Virus Total is a really nice one. Most of them does, most of them do the same. So they have the same purpose, the same goal. They show you the same information. In my but the most, I think that the one that is more popular is Virus Total. Okay, so this is a representation of how Kuko, the looks like. Show you the same information actually as virus total. It's not a huge difference. Okay, so public docs and metadata. So you know that there are images, right? Like there are, like for example, a picture about something, and also there are tools. There are tools that'll help us to analyze a picture to see, I mean, what the picture is hiding behind the scene, right? So let's imagine, let's say, I don't know, there's a tool that is called EXIF. EXIF is a tool, it's very powerful to get information about the picture. Sometimes organizations could hide information in some image for protection, or we can use man EXIF to see more information about it, right? This will show you how to use it, right? Look, and let's imagine, let's say that we're gonna go here to Google, right? No, I think it's better if we go here to Firefox, to our browser here. Let's download an image. So we go to Google here. I want to show you how it looks. the response of exit tool after we run the, the tool, right? So for example, let's put cars. If we go to images, right, and I don't know, this one, this one, or whatever, this one. Okay, so let's imagine that we want to analyze this one, right? Save image as. We're gonna save this image. Let's name it cars, and we're gonna put this one in our desktop partition. Okay, so okay, let's save the file. We save the file, and we're gonna have this one here in our desktop. Remember, desktop here. This is the. So if we wanna see the image, we can use the command veh cross. Look, and we can open the picture very faster, right? Fetch cars that JP. But if we want to analyze, as I said, sometimes people hide information about the organizations in the pictures. So how we can do that? We can use a tool that is called exif tool. So cars, let's just check what it contains. Look, this is the information about the picture. Well, the size, when was modified, the file access, the permissions that we have. Oh, it seems like the picture was captured by a Motorola cell phone. Cool. So yeah, I mean, obviously, I was not expecting to find like a valuable information about the picture because this is a random picture that I have taken like randomly right now. But sometimes in a real life scenario, when you are performing a penetration testing operation, you can find information using this tool. So I mean, the purpose of this is that I just wanted to show you how to use the tool. That's it, right? Obviously, we were not expecting to find something this random image that I got from internet, right? So, remember, do you remember this command rm to delete the image? Rm cars. Amazing. We don't have the image anymore. So, if we want to close the terminal, exit, close it, right? And here, let's say, okay, close this guy. I have the, let's close this. Okay, okay, let's continue. Let's continue. We don't have enough time here. Yes, the metadata. I mean, with that tool, like exit tool, you get the metadata, right? The metadata about a particular about a particular image that we get from internet or maybe a website in a particular organization. Okay, okay, so yes, these are some recommendations for you. Be mindful of what your organization shares online. Consider how even the simplest information can be used against yourself or the organization. What's your internet presence? Can you trace your digital footprints? What OSINT could an attacker use against you? What type of or phishing would you fall for? Do you click on the link, etc., etc.? Hey, how is your mood? Show me some thumbs up if you are enjoying. Yes, amazing. Cool. So, do you want to learn? Well, Now I think that we can proceed with some technical things, something that I think all of you have been waiting for. Okay, because personally I don't like to have PPTs and those things, but sometimes it's necessary. But look, we're gonna open, we're gonna start, we're gonna start this hands-on with um, opening a vulnerable server. Do you remember at the beginning that I said that the only part that was allowed and without authorization was the passive scanning, right? So in order to don't commit any crime, because we don't want to scan actively a real IP or a real domain or a real organization, there are some ways to do it. This is Metasploit to Linux. This is a vulnerable machine. How we can get this? We go here, vulnerable, and this is a vulnerable server. We can go here, go to the second one, SourceForge, and we just click on download, and that's it. We have the one in our system, and we can install it and run it from here, from our VMware. So let's run it. I already installed it. It's very straightforward. So what I'm gonna do here, what I will do is to scan the server to see which ports are open or closed. So how we can represent this? Look, this will be a server. This, let's imagine that this is a server, and me or us here in our computer running Kali, we are here, right? Sorry for my graph. This is me in my computer, right? I will start Kali Linux and I will run nmap, nmap, right? That is the tool to scan which port is open or closed in the system. We are going to send packages to the server, to this vulnerable server, to see which port is open or closed. I know that this is very small, but actually we don't require this page. We don't require this guy. The only thing that we require, the only thing that we require is, well, I think that I will clean my page. Wait, how I clean it? Okay, so let's clean this guy. I don't wanna in I don't wanna my horrible graph interfere with the explanation. Oh my goodness, this is taking forever. Wait, sorry. This guy. Okay, I will I will erase me. Okay, done. I think that there's a there's a there's something that I can click and delete everything, right? But I didn't find it. Anyway, anyway, let's go back here. Let's go back to the real stuff. So, as I was explaining, this is a vulnerable machine, right? So first, I want to verify in which network this guy is, not amazing, and where we are. Okay, so where we are, manage virtual machine settings. Okay, perfect. So let's check. Let's check first. The first step is to check net discover. No, the first step is to check our IP address. What is our IP address? So Our IP address is this one, 192.168.52.21.29. So we are using a subnet mask 24. That means that this guy, that server that is our target, is also in a subnet. Let's check if that server is in our same network. So one way to verify that, this is a new tool, sudo to increase our privileges, net discover dash r stands for range 192.168 that 52.0/24. So we'll verify all the devices that are in the same network as my Kali Linux machine. So we put our password, that is Kali. We'll start the tool. We'll start analyzing, and we can see this one. 192.168 1.52.128. Why we don't take that one? Because that is the default gateway, and this is two others IP addresses that also are used by the router as a backups. So normally the routers, the IP address of the router is the first usable IP, and the last usable IP is the broadcast, right? So this is the last one, so obviously it's not. This is a backup for the router, right? And this is the official router IP. So normally the router in your house, for example, or in your office, normally they capture or they keep some IP addresses for them. So you cannot use all of them. So the rest that are between those numbers are the real devices that are in your network. In this case, this guy, this guy, 192.168.52, that 21.28. So now that we know what is the IP address of this guy, let's scan it. Let's start with a basic scan. Nmap 192.168.52.128. Remember, Nmap, the goal of Nmap is to send packages, to analyze the ports to see which port is open or which port is closed, what kind of service is running in which particular in a particular port, and also the version of that service that is running in that particular port. So this is the most basic scan that, or maybe the most basic combination that we can apply. We're gonna do it like we're gonna extend this combination, but this is the most basic, right? Just type in nmap and the IP address of the device, right? We type it, and this was really fast actually. It's showing me all ports that are open in the system. Look, port 21. Let's reduce a little bit. Okay, so look, port port 21, port 22, port 23, 25, 53, etc. And here we can see the state of the port. Ports are open, and the service. What is the service that is running in that particular port? FTP, SSH, Telnet, SMTP, HTTP. Do you remember yesterday that I told you that one of the most well-known ports around the world are port 80 and port 443? Well, port 80, as I told you, it's HTTP. Nowadays, um, most of the websites, even the malicious websites, use certificates. That means that they use encryption in their communication. So they use HTTPS, that goes through or use port 443, right? Since this is vulnerable machine, since this is a vulnerable machine, obviously we are expecting to see a port 80 open because it's vulnerable. It's um, has a purpose. I mean, this server is published to be hacked. I mean, that is the purpose. It's for practice, right? So the way that you can practice is utilizing this kind of servers that are published, and you can download them and you can run them, and to pretend, right, to pretend that is a real scenario, right? So yeah, so this is vulnerable per default. So yeah, default 80 open. So now let's clean our page, right? We ran this one. We just ran nmap 192.168.52.128. But now we would like more information. We would like to get also what is the version of the service that is running in that particular port, in the ports that we found. So there's one command that we can add, dash s dash sp sp is we are asking the software, we are asking Nmap, hey Nmap, I would like you to provide me also the services and the versions, because based on the version, we are going to start our investigation, our research about that particular service, because maybe that version, maybe there are an exploit around the world that we can use in our advantage to take control of the server. Look, now this is taking a little bit, this is taking more time because it's like a little bit, it's a it's more sophisticated the scan, and now we get the information. As you can see here, it's showing the same information, but there's one more column here in the right, the column version. Look, we have this one, this version BSFTPD 2.3.4, and all of these versions. So based on that, do you remember that I said that Google is your best friend? There are two ways to look for this. We can copy paste this to see if this version, if this particular FTP version has vulnerabilities, and if there's any exploit around the world that we can use it for us, that we can use it to take an advantage of the system. So there's one more um, one more website that I would like to show you where you can, or I mean, Google will show you automatically. Look, if I copy paste this, ESFTPD 2.3.4, I copy this, look, Rapid7, Exploit TV. These are the main resources of vulnerabilities around the world and also exploits. Look, let's go here. We can get information about this version and the exploit and how to do it. Look, this is the process that we can do it, that we can actually get control of the system using Metasploit framework. Metasploit framework is it's a tool that we can also find in Kali Linux to run automatically exploits, right? If a system has the vulnerability, we can run exploits against them, right? We can run exploits against them. And if it's vulnerable, we take control of the system. And if we take control of the system, we are gonna be able to send commands, to read files, to create files, to delete files, etc., etc. So this is another website where you can see information that is exploit database. Look, this is exploit. This is from 2011. Look. This is the exploit. We can use this exploit to take advantage of it. This is code actually. This is made in Python. Python is a very well-known code. So as I said yesterday, you don't need to know how to create this code. This code is already made it for me, right? I search it and I get it. However, I need to understand what the code does. I need to be able to read the code and understand what the code does. So there's another way that we can do it. Let's open another one. Search for it. This command, this one, this part, this command search bullet is the same information that we get in this website. ExploitDB is the same, are the same owners. So as you can see here, BSFTPD, we can generate a backdoor command execution, and this is the code. Look, 49757. We go here, maybe it's the same. Yes, look, 49757. So it's the same code, but how we download this code to our system? Search code -m, and we have to copy the path. This is the path of the code. We can copy paste it, and we have to exploit in our system. Here, look, we can analyze the code. Remember the command to check the code, check information inside? Nano, remember? Let's clean up a little bit. H and reduce a little. So ls, and we have here this executable that is written in Python. So Nano, we can analyze the code. 9757.python, and we can check and modify if we want the code for our own convenience. Okay, we can also see the code and check the code with the command cat. Remember cat yesterday? But with cat, you cannot modify the code. You just can read it, right? But on the other hand, with Nano, you can modify it. Okay, so this is the exploit. Amazing. So now, now this is there's another. I mean, if we want more information about it, we can do -a, also the IP address. In this case, what was the IP address? Sorry, was this one. Instead of SP, we can put -a. -a stands for it's like an advanced type of scan. Is the aggressive scan. So -a, technically you are applying all the scripts that Nmap has just with that letter, right? Obviously, this one takes more time, takes a little bit more time. Takes, I mean, definitely takes more time. You can check what is the status. Look, 86%. But this is a server that is located in my network. So if we were talking about like a remote server, like for example, a website or an IP address that is located in a different part of the world, obviously that will take much more time. But since this server is located here in my computer, there's no problem for that. So now, as you can see here, we can get more information the about the about the server. Look, 421 version service, and also more information about what we can find inside what we can find inside that particular service. 422, some SSH host keys. Oh, port 23. There's, well, not so much information, but it's telnet. It's not secure. So look, there's much more information about the services that are running here, right? So now, just to finish, I I promise you that I will show you a SQL injection attack. A SQL injection attack basically is to grab information from the database and to try to exploit. I won't go details detail by detail how this work because we don't have enough time. What I will show you here is the attack. So how we can attack a website and grab information from a database. Obviously, this will be in a safe environment. This is a free and legal tool. It's called, wait, was a no, we'll have Acunetics. This one. Look, this is a website that is vulnerable, that is purposely made it vulnerable, and it's for free and it's legal to attack for practicing, right? So this is a website that is vulnerable. So let's do a SQL injection attack here. So we're gonna use the tool SQL Map. SQL Map, this tool. This is a very powerful tool to take advantage of it. Okay, so WorkSuite is a very powerful tool to analyze requests that we send to the server. Okay, this will be really fast. You can get more information about it, about the process. But I want you to see how powerful are the SQL injection attacks when you grab information from the database. Okay, so first of all, let's activate the proxy. I think it's 8.1. Give me a sec. Okay, I'm just preparing the scenario. Okay. Okay, so let's go back here. Let's activate the proxy. It's activated. Amazing. So now we are using the proxy, Foxy proxy. Okay, cool. So this okay, let me start from the beginning. This is a website that is vulnerable. The owners of this vulnerable websites is the company, a cybersecurity company called Acunetics. Acunetics is a very well-known web application scanner. Technically, that scanner looks for vulnerabilities on the website, so you can buy the premium license and scans, and you can scan your domain, for example. But they have published this website for free to make, I mean, to allow ethical hackers to practice web application hacking. So you can do it. You can do it here. You can do it. You can do some hacking here legally. This is a legal website where you can hack, right? So don't be careful. I mean, this is a public website. Anyone can get access, but it's but it's made it by Acunetics to hack for free, right? So look, let's go here to sign up, right? Obviously, they are telling you here the password, right? The username and the password, but that's not the point. The point is that we can get the password if there's a vulnerability, if there's a point of injection, if there's a point of injection in the login session. So let's capture, let's intercept the request with the proxy, and let's put, for example, admin. Oh, we're gonna intercept it. Look, this is how it looks, the interception, how we intercept the request that we have sent. We have captured the request. right click, copy. We're gonna copy this request into a new terminal. Nano, and let's put request. Let's name it request.txt. So copy paste this here. We copy paste, Control X, yes to save. And now we have the file here, request.txt. And sorry, R request.txt. Let's put it some level 5. This is to increase the power of the attack. Risk 3. Boom. Let's run it and see what happened. Uh, look, we have found information about the database. The backend DBMS is MySQL. MySQL is a brand, is one of the biggest databases brand around the world, and we have the version. Look, that means that it's vulnerable. It's vulnerable to SQL injection attack. Here is showing you the way and the parameter that is vulnerable. Uname. Uname is the parameter that we found here. Look, uname. Uname is the parameter that is vulnerable. So it's vulnerable to SQL injection. So let's go back here. And now what we are gonna do is something really nice. We're gonna do the same, -R, and we're gonna get all the databases of the system. -DBS. -DBS is like I'm asking SQL map, hey SQL map, can you grab all the databases? Boom. Yes, no. Look, we have two available databases. Just for your information schema is a database that comes per default with MySQL. So normally you never find valuable information there. So I don't recommend you to check here in information schema. It's just information about the characteristics of the database and so on. So this is the real one. This is the one that we are interested in. So and now instead of -DBS, we are gonna name the we're gonna name the database because now we know what is the name of the acquired dash dash because we would like to get the tables. What are inside the acquired database? And we would like to see the tables. Yes. Look, we have artists, cards, categories, features, guests, pictures, products. So the most valuable for us, obviously, will be users because maybe in users we can find some information about them. Again, tables, and now instead of tables we put -T. Now columns to see what is inside. Yes, no. Look, we have name, address, card, CC, email, password, phone, you name. Amazing. So now instead of columns, we put .C and we can filter, right? Let's get the password and that uname and password. That is the information that we want, right? Uname, over, pass. That is the password. And the way to dump everything is with a command dump to grab all the information. Dash dump. Boom. Again, the same questions. Yes. No. Look. Username test. Password test. This is how a SQL injection attack looks like. And obviously now that I know the username and the password, I go here and I type test. Obviously we We knew that from the beginning, but what I wanted to show you is the process of how to grab information from a database. We knew this. I mean, we knew that the username and the password from the beginning was test, right? But I wanted you to see how we can get information and how we can get inside a database and grab that those credentials. These attacks are very dangerous and exist and are very common around the world and happen. If you don't protect your website, or your server, this is a way of how hackers do this process. So if we go here, we log in, and now it's successful. Name John Smith. The credit card obviously is a fake one. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. It's a fake one, but this is a representation of a credit card. The email, the phone number, 21 Street, and that is the information of the user. Amazing. Okay, so I hope you like it.